So the first thing I'm going to talk about is breathing. I teach all of my patients proper diaphragmatic breathing. Diaphragmatic being your diaphragm down here. Diaphragm right here. It's a muscle that I just drew a line for you. So it's a muscle that expands down like a rubber band when you breathe in, and then comes back up when you breathe out. So it comes back to its relaxed position here when you breathe out. Now, I want you to picture that band moving, kind of like a rubber band, down and back in its place when you are doing your proper diaphragmatic breathing. So we'll go through that a little bit here and just practice breathing and visualizing that, because it is truly helpful. But like I said, sometimes your body just doesn't let you take a second to even breathe, because you're like, no, I got to get this done. I got this, and I have to repaint my bathroom. We've lived in this house for 10 years, and now I want to repaint my bathroom. So dumb. I'm going to do it, but it's dumb. Okay, so you're going to put your hand, one hand here where I do the line, and then one hand on your chest. So now the hand on your chest should not move. You're only putting it there as a guide. The one on your stomach should be the one moving, okay? So now I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see my stomach should be extended out. Here, I'm going to go this way. And then the hand on my chest should not move, okay? So I'm going to breathe in through my nose, out my mouth. Okay, so normally when I'm teaching that to a patient, I do 5 breaths in and out, but for sake of the video, don't do that. Don't do that, what I just did. For the sake of the video, I'm just gonna do 2. So your clavicle or your clavicular bone here should not move up and down. Your chest should not move up and down. So when I did this, that's an anxiety breath. That's not proper diaphragmatic breathing. So keep practicing that. Just visualize your stomach moving out rather than your chest, and put your hands on both so you can modify as you go on and just feel the movement. Okay, so breathing is a big one. If you can take at least 5 to 10 breaths, you'll instantly feel better. It'll take a little bit of practice, but the more you practice, the better you're going to be. People who do yoga are really good at it, really good at breathing diaphragmatically. So I reached out to some of my friends about their anxiety, and they mentioned reading scripture. That really helps them just kind of talk to God and read the word and just learn how to cope with what is going on in the world right now, what's going on with their bodies. So that has really helped them. I am a person who cannot read the Bible. I can read short scriptures. Anything beyond that, I'm not practiced yet. You lose me, and I don't understand, so then I stop reading it because I get confused. So I can read really short scriptures that have the meaning kind of like underlined, highlighted. It's, right there for me to see. That really helps me. I'm a visual person. I can't just sit and read. I want to listen to someone explaining it rather than myself reading it. So I have some podcasts that I listen to. And then I also follow Ascension Presents on YouTube, which is a Catholic group, I guess, because now it was Father Mike Schmitz that started it, but now there's other members that go on and just kind of talk about certain subjects, especially now in what we're going through. They've been talking about a lot about what's going on and how to deal with that from a Catholic standpoint. So that's been really helping me. And then, so another important one is to exercise every single day. When I had Indy, I was experiencing a lot of anxiety, and I wasn't working out because I couldn't yet. But even just to get outside and walk was really helpful. But again, the anxiety was holding me back. I wouldn't bring her outside because I'm like, oh, it's the middle of winter. I can't bring my new baby outside. Yeah, you can. Bundle her up. She'll be fine. But that's anxiety talking. It's telling you that it's all doom and gloom, and it's telling you it's the end of the world and you can't bring your newborn baby outside. You can. Got to get past that. You're going to feel so much better if you just go for like 5-10 minute walk outside. Get some fresh air, and don't bring your phone. Leave your phone at home. Just be one with nature. The kids and I went out this morning, and I just tried to look at the birds, and I was showing them leaves, and Avery was picking out some berries on the ground. So it's things like that that you need to be doing rather than thinking about, what's on Facebook or, thinking about what we have to do at home. Just leave it all behind you and clear your mind on that walk outside, no matter how cold it is and windy. You can last 5 minutes outside today, especially. So that was a big thing for me. Once I was able to start working out regularly, then I was feeling so much better, and I was able to control my emotions a little bit more, and start, I guess, identifying the anxiety better. My thoughts are changing. My mood is changing depending on the day. But I can start looking from the outside in now rather than just being locked into my own brain. Hope that makes sense, but I know people with anxiety are going to be able to relate to that a little bit more, but when you're struggling with it, you're just locked into your own mind and you can't get out. It's self-destructive. But now that I'm remedying it, I can now see from the outside and say, hey, you're anxious. You need to go do something about it right now, or it's going to get a lot worse. Okay, so another thing is to talk about it. Talk to someone about how you're feeling, whether it be your mom or your sisters or your best friend or your husband. Talk about it, address it, acknowledge it, because the sooner you do, the better off you will be. Because once you talk about it, then you talk about it more and more and more and more. And then you are starting to feel a lot better about it because so many people start relating to you like, hey, yeah, I feel that same way too. You will just make fast friends if you start talking about it, because everyone is experiencing some sort of level of anxiety, whether it was before all this happened or it came on just now that we're all locked in. But talk about it wherever you feel comfortable and say whatever you feel comfortable with. But use your words. A little orange for my complexion. We're gonna make that work. Do your makeup. This feels great. I have nowhere to go, but this feels wonderful. I'm also going to work out with the kids in a little bit when they all wake up. They're not sleeping. But Philip Campbell. I'll put his link below. He's from Lee Center. He's one of the not an athletic director, but he's PE. Sorry, Philip, I don't know your actual professional title, but he's been posting workout videos every single day on Facebook and YouTube, just getting the kids moving around, and he has his own kids in there, and I think that's really great. So I will put his link below so that you can click on that and check out his videos. So the kids and I are going to do a video after rest time. We all know how that works in this household, especially. It's a way to get your bodies moving. Then you can go back outside, get some more recess time in. I do want to mention quickly too that with your kids not in school, you don't have to play teacher. I mean, there might be some things that school is requesting to be done as far as your kids' schoolwork, depending on their ages, but you don't have to do that, especially if they're young. Just let them play, and you can do a little bit of things here and there if you feel like it. But so this morning we spent an hour. I tried to teach them some letters and numbers, and we did some circle time, but they really just started playing on their own and being creative on their own, and I just let them. Then that was my time to kind of observe them and appreciate them, and then also clean the kitchen and do some laundry. Once you get kids started with their creativity, they'll just take off and become independent for however long, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes even longer. But so they just went off on their own and started creating pictures and playing school together. And then I was able to kind of sneak away and get some stuff done. Even with the older kids, you can have them do a little bit of schoolwork, and then you can let them go outside or just create something and use their imaginations. It's so important. Imagination is much more important than schoolwork right now. Be a kid. It's fun. So when I asked my friends who I know live with anxiety more acutely or more chronically, so they've had anxiety the most of their lives, I wanted to reach out to them and just kind of get their input, because I have more acute anxiety where it came on after kids. I never really struggled with it for an extended amount of time prior to children. But like I said, I just reached out to them, and some things that they said, they escape. So they have their husband take over the kids and house duties for no amount of time. I mean, within a day, but there's no set amount of time. And one of them said that she will take a bath with Epsom salts and then just kind of immerse herself in podcasts or worship music and read the Bible. She'll do what's called a word study, which she said a word study where she'll look for any scriptures based on anxiety or fear and go off of that, and she kind of just lets God guide her in that. And I thought that was really neat, and I wanted to share that because God does kind of lead you to what you're needing at that point, whether it pop up on Facebook all of a sudden or you are just looking at the Bible and it appears in front of you, or you turn to the exact right page that you're looking for. So it just depends for her on what type of anxiety she's dealing with, since there's so many different levels of it. That's what she's not really looking for one specific scripture, but she just kind of lets God lead her. And I think that was really great to share. And also the bath. I think another one of my really close friends, she just stands in the shower and lets the water just rush on to her for however long it needs to be, depending on the situation. But so that really helps her just kind of calm herself down with standing in the shower. Or you can take a bath with Epsom salts. Epsom salts pull out toxins from your body, that's nice. I always bring in a glass of water with me so I don't get too dehydrated. But for me, I can't sit in a tub for too long. I kind of get bored and I want to get out. Anxiety. But I try to sit in there for at least 30 minutes and soak in the Epsom salt and essential oils, most often lavender, to get myself calmed down. And it really, really does help. And then I just try to stay relaxed after that and not try to do too much. One thing that I'm doing right now, I have a puzzle downstairs that I try to pick at while the kids are busy and entertained with other things downstairs. I will just look at the puzzle for a little bit and try to do as much as I can until my kids need me again. And that's been really helping me. I did that all throughout my maternity leave with Indy because I was dealing with a lot of anxiety, and that seemed to help a lot with it. I do want to mention though, like I've always said from the beginning, I want to be really transparent with you guys and real. I am on anxiety medication, and I went on anxiety medication when it was getting to be too much. I couldn't remedy it anymore myself. I was ignoring it. I was pretending that I was fine, but my family knew I wasn't. I could just feel myself in that locked in feeling, as I mentioned before. Yeah, I just wasn't myself. And I felt like there was an elephant standing on my stomach. I couldn't eat anything. I was spiraling. But also, your body does this great thing. Great meaning not great. When you are experiencing a certain level of anxiety, your body releases a toxin or a chemical imbalance, I guess. I shouldn't say toxin, but a chemical imbalance. So it releases a chemical in your body, and it can do many things. But to me, it caused my body to break out in psoriasis all over my body. Not one part of my body except for my face didn't have spots on it. And I can't get myself to look back at the pictures of my body at that time to even post and show you, but just picture the worst rash you've ever had on your body, and that's what it is. And this psoriasis didn't go away within a day. It stayed for months and months and months and months. I started going in anxiety medicine. I noticed it going away, but I still have spots. It's gonna just take a long time for it to go away. It was another thing that just kind of got me to go talk to my doctor. I said, okay, there's lots of things going on with my body. I can't eat, I can't sleep, I'm covered in spots. There was many other things going on too. Period-wise, I didn't get my period. Just too many things. And I was nervous. I thought I had cancer. So I went to talk to my doctor, and right away, he knew exactly what it was. And he asked me some questions. He offered me counseling, which was wonderful. I didn't accept it at that point just because I have a really good supportive family and I had already been talking about it. I maybe should have accepted it, but I said, okay, I'll go on the anxiety medication and I will continue to talk to my family and try to decrease the anxiety in some way. It took about a month on the anxiety medications for me to even start feeling good, for one, because I felt like crap. I felt like I was pregnant, just nauseated and just not groggy. I felt terrible. But almost exactly a month after I started taking it, I felt wonderful. Like I said, I kind of have the out-of-body experience, like looking down on myself. I can acknowledge it and see where I was. And it wasn't a good spot that I was in. But now my thoughts are changed and I can identify it easier. Whether that's an anxiety medication, I don't know. I'm on the lowest dose you can go on, but it's enough for me for now. I'm trying to, obviously live without it. I'm just not ready yet. I know I'm not. So I'm not even going to try. I'm going to wait for times to pass and continue to do these things that I'm talking about today to try to feel better and get rid of it. But then I'll slowly wean off of the medication when I feel like it's a good time. I'll also make sure I talk to my doctor before I even do that and get his input. I hope this helps. I'm all over the place because when you talk about anxiety, there's no structure. There's no right or wrong. You just have to talk about it. And that's what I wanted to do today. I just felt really pushed to do this today. So I sat in front of the camera and talked about it. Talked about something really tough to talk about. So I encourage you to talk about it with me if you feel comfortable, because I want you to know that I am your support and we can get through this together. If we continue to pray, I know that things will change. Me being Catholic and truly believing, I do believe that this is handled. God has it. And we just kind of have to go along with what he has planned. And we have to trust in him that it will be okay. And we'll be okay. We just have to keep believing in him and keep trusting in him. Keep praying. I'm praying so hard. And I want you guys to join me. Because I truly feel better when I do pray. And I just kind of let everything go to him. Even if it's only for a few hours and I feel better for a little while. That's all I can really ask for. But it does help. And if you need help getting there, just please reach out to me. Just know I'm here to help you. I have no idea where I'm at with my makeup. Let's see. Talking too much. I can't imagine if I had chronic anxiety, where I would be today. Check in on your friends that you know have been struggling with anxiety their whole life. Check in on them, please. I'm worrying about some of my friends. Always. And always praying for you. One thing that I learned through one of my patients was to use your five senses in a moment where you're really struggling with anxiety. So think about one thing that you can touch, one thing that you can see, one thing that you can hear, one thing that you can taste, and one thing that you can smell. Those 5 things. Gives you something other than anxiety or whatever made you anxious at that moment. It gives you something else to focus on, to take your focus off of that. Makes me feel so much better. So much less anxious. And then ready to tackle what I come home to. And I feel I'm a better mom. I'm a better wife. Things are just much better. Something I really I have been trying to do, even through all this. Work is insanely stressful right now. I don't know what to expect from day to day. But when I come home, my home is my home. My home has stayed my home. Nothing has changed. So I come home, and the first 5 minutes, I make sure not to yell at my husband, not yell at my kids. I try not to be stressed. I come home, I give them all a hug and kiss. I ask about their day. That's it. After 5 minutes, I can yell. I can do whatever. But it's important to know that if you give yourself that 5 minutes, there isn't any yelling or struggles right after. You're not like holding it back. You let all the things go, and then they don't come back, and you just have a better night. I can tell when I didn't give myself that 5 minutes to just love up on my family after coming home from a long day of work. I can tell. You have to remember that life is short. Let's just try to be there for one another and share our tips. So that's where I will now ask you to please let me know what helps you so that I can try it and pass it along on here. So please comment what works for you and your anxiety. Help us out. Let's all join together and we'll get through this. We just have to trust in God. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.